Now I would like to introduce Carlos Capelan, who is our next speaker, and invite him to come up on the stage here and share some thoughts.
I'd like to start thanking the Oslo Academy of Art for organizing this special event and for inviting me to make a contribution. A special thank you to Jan Pettersson, whom I have known for decades and with whom I have had a continuous and fruitful dialogue about the issues that we are about to discuss here these coming days. During the time I was trained as a printmaker, we started discussing the very nature of our training. At the time, it wasn't easy to examine printmaking from other perspectives than the mere technical aspects of it. It took a while before we could discuss printmaking as a language. Since then, and along the way, many paradigms have changed. For one, the paradigms of symbolic production have evolved rapidly. Allow me to name some obvious changes. Painting is not anymore reduced to the use of oil on canvas. Sculpture does not solely depend on the usage of marble or bronze. Drawing has become a popular tool for the neo-conceptual, and the expanded notion of graphic art is now an accepted objective for academic discussion. We are thus gathered here these days to discuss and share thoughts about the many identities of printmaking, aiming to take a closer look at what we call its expanded notion. To open up the discussion, I would like to mention a few thoughts about some aspects that have traditionally been associated with printmaking. Let's start, for instance, with a short comment about printing and edition. When reflecting on the repetitions involved in the traditional process of printing editions, many of us started to associate it to rituals, memory, and obsessions, all of which we found rather interesting as a component of our trade. What before was considered a mechanical procedure based on repetition could then today be seen as a conceptual frame for a more symbolically oriented approach. In an age of intensified communication, the old need for an edition, which printmaking shares with literature, photography, sculpture, etc., is today somehow linked to the contemporary phenomenon of spreading information. There is no single idea or product that today cannot find a way to reach out to various audiences without even considering these actions in terms of editions. Of course, we know today that the identity of printmaking does not anymore depend on a limited number edition for its legitimation. The same would apply to other aspects of printmaking, such as the matrix, the supporting surface, and the mechanical techniques. When it comes to the use of surfaces, we can suggest that it is today possible to conceive any available surface as suitable in order to vary the scope of the edition. And for instance, I suspect that during this conference, some of us will suggest that the very basic matrix of an artwork is the idea, the concept, the impulse to generate a process. These ideas concerning the edition, the matrix, and surfaces allow us to imagine other departure points for the conception of printmaking and therefore of representation. I have suggested that the identity of printmaking today does not necessarily depend on limited and numbered procedures for its legitimation. Yet, nor does it have to renounce making use of such procedures. My personal perception is that younger generation of printmakers today tend to work in two major directions, different but truly not opposed. On the one hand, to expand the notion of printmaking is related to the necessity to widen the scope of their research. On the other hand, the decision to work within traditional methods aims to satisfy a need for rigor. A third option, of course, is to embrace both directions. I find neither of these positions difficult to understand or accept. Both options can today coexist and even interact in the experience of printmaking. I dare to suggest that the necessities to contextualize, to decontextualize, and/or to recontextualize are becoming more active parts in the process that we are interested in addressing here. I have to apologize if what I've just said appears too obvious or too simple for many of you present here today. I have wanted to mention a few ideas that I am sure we will be further and more thoroughly discuss during the present seminar. Thank you very much. Thank you.